And those figures you mentioned, sir, about charging crude, subsidy on crude, and then NNPC go on to charge subsidy on refined product. It's not just a matter of law. That is the real word for it is fraud.
Why is it that all the presidents always wanted to be Minister of Petroleum? Why? They cannot be Minister of Agriculture. They cannot be Minister of Education. It's always Minister of Petroleum, all of them. And they are not even accountable. You can see now. You cannot call them to account as an accounting officer in that ministry. So why are they there? Under your watch, such an amount of money is missing. And nobody sees it as anything. They deliberately said it's up to 2023. Let them come and tell me that this present administration have not committed any financial infraction in that ministry. Let them come and tell me. They avoided including this other 2023 to 2025. Why? So that will tell you that these things are deliberate. If you are missing such an amount of money, Fina, how can your country grow?
It's painful, Barrister. You know what? It hurts me because I can recall earlier when our debt ratio turned out to be a certain amount of money. And then, after proper calculation with the number of persons who believe we have in Nigeria, it was interesting to know that each household, you're owing 500 and 1,000 and some 19, fraction added to it as a debt you and I had to pay. But now, from what we saw on the cover page of the National Daily, if we're to go on with the recent approved money from the National Assembly that were to borrow, our debt will rise to 194 trillion naira. And we are looking, we cannot account for 210 trillion naira. That's a humongous amount.
And all of us are just going about as if nothing happened.
Do you think that Nigeria is having figure problem? Are we having figure problem at this point?
Oh, no, it's only Okpobolo that is having that problem, not Nigeria.
Nigeria, a scam that has continued to impoverish its people. Lawmakers allege 210 trillion naira in NNPC financial fraud, an amount bigger than Nigeria's entire national debt. Some analysts infer that if this money existed, the naira could trade at $1 to 1 naira. But where is the money? NNPC claims it paid 103 trillion naira to JV partners in 2023. Yet earned only 24 trillion in 6 years. Lawmakers call it mathematical abracadabra. Cash call payments reappear after being abolished in 2016, with no documents, no partner's name. NNPC lists 107 trillion as receivables supposedly stuck in defunct banks. NNPC provided no bank names, no documents, and the figure appears in no audited report from 2017. Analysts say this mirrors a known fraud pattern, creating fake debts to hide missing money. Subsidies should apply only to refined fuel, not crude. But auditors say NAPIMS charged illegal subsidies on crude, and NNPC deducted subsidies on diesel without authorization. These show up in multiple audited pages. Lawmakers call them illegal and unacceptable deduction. Imagine what 210 trillion could have done. Roads, hospitals, schools. What 210 trillion could have done? 210 trillion naira could rebuild every major road, fund 774 modern hospitals, lift millions from poverty, stabilize the naira, and equip thousands of schools, transform Nigeria into an economic powerhouse. Instead, we're told the money is missing. Lawmakers insist the NNPC GMD must appear personally, no more delegates. If today's leadership can't explain these trillions, former officials will be summoned to account for every kobo. Experts say Nigeria's issue isn't population or taxes, it's systemic corruption. Until leaders pursue real accountability, Nigeria will keep losing trillions meant for its people. But the question is, why now? Why was this discovery not made when Buhari was alive? Could it be a case of witch hunt against the alleged foiled coup sponsor, ex-petroleum minister Timipre Silva? Or do we assume that the Nigerian government has woken up from its slumber on corruption? As the investigation deepens, we'll keep you updated and empowered. This is Nigeria's truth, and it must be spoken. Here's the Senate committee deliberating on this huge fraud by NNPC.
that the okra tree can possibly be taller than who planted it. Like I said one time, there are not a few people see NNPC as behaving as if they are the country, Nigeria is their parastatal. And so they are above the country. Now, my worry is not about the fact that, looking at the period of coverage, it doesn't come under the present GMD. Yeah. But the fact that the GMD is anxious to cover up the fraud suggests that he may also want to continue with business as usual. That is what troubles me. Because, like you rightly said, sir, being given the opportunity to come and explain what happened that you have inherited should be something you should do freely. But time and time again, the GMD is never going to come here. And those figures you mentioned, sir, about charging crude, subsidy on crude, and then NNPC go on to charge subsidy on refined product. It's not just a matter of law. That is, the real word for it is fraud, monumental fraud. And the amount involved is far more than what our president is struggling to borrow from foreign countries. If those monies were here, we don't go to borrow this kind of money. So just to thank you, Mr. Chairman, I think we are all in agreement with you. You know, we need to make it clear that the the current constitution, 1999 as amended, gives this committee the power even to arrest the GMD of NNPC if it does not behave. And we have the will to exercise those powers. So that for once, people should know Nigeria cannot be. I want to quote President Tinubu himself. He said, no more excuses. No more. Whether on issues of security, issues of abuse of power, anybody who is mismanaging his own bit, we have a collective duty to bring the person to justice or bring justice to the person wherever he is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Having exhaustively reviewed the answer by NNPC, 107 trillion, the equivalent of which in dollars is $117 billion. Against available facts and evidence provided by the same NNPC, which go contrary to their claim, the 107 trillion cash call paid to JV partners in 2023. The committee is duty bound to reject this. Why the committee is rejecting this is that 103 trillion as accrued expenses. NNPC declared a revenue of 24 trillion naira between the year 2017 to 2022, the equivalent of which in dollars was $58 billion. And the same NNPC in 2023 alone claimed to have paid 103 trillion to their JV partners based on cash call. Two things here. One, cash call was abolished, so to say, if I may use that word, in 2026 by late President, but in 2016, sorry. Crude of 24 trillion. Now you are paying 103 trillion naira to your JV partners without telling us the quantum of crude that justified that payment. And how on earth can anybody give what he or she does not have? Where did NNPC get 103 trillion to have paid to its JV partners in only 1 year?
$117
Sir?
$117 billion.
$117 billion. So as far as this committee is concerned, that figure 103 trillion is unacceptable, it's not justified, because cash call was stopped or abolished in 2016. And now in 2023, you are coming under the umbrella of cash call to say you had paid 103 trillion in just a year. So for that, this committee is not accepting that figure, and that 103 trillion must be returned to Treasury by NNPC, but that shall be concluded when NNPC appears here. At this point, the committee deems it pertinent to come public so that we keep the public abreast and for the public to know we have not just gone quiet. We've been studying and studying, brainstorming, so that when we face the public, we face them from angle of education, information, education, and enlightenment. That is on the 103 3 trillion. 107 trillion. The 107 trillion, which constitutes receivables by NNPC. Receivables here in accounting stands for assets. Expenses stand for liabilities. We have thrown light on the liability aspect of, or the liabilities aspect of it. Now the assets. NNPC claimed, and of course still claims, that this 107 receivables are part of it. Part of that figure was with some defunct banks. None of the banks was mentioned by NNPC. We don't know. NNPC, based on their annual financial statement, which is the Bible or the Quran that this committee is using to extract what we've been talking about, no bank was mentioned. Neither amount was mentioned. NNPC did not in any way and form say to communicate to this committee, Bank A that is defunct was holding on to amount X to justify this figure of 107. And for that, it is 107 is also not acceptable to the committee. And by the time you put the two figures together, this is what justifies the position of the committee as to saying that NNPC should and must account for 210 trillion.
That money will never come out.
210 trillion naira is not going to come out.
That money is gone. Forget it.
But so do you know that money actually happens to be, it's higher than the whole debt Nigeria is owing, and they're saying
more
it's not going to come in. It's more than.
If we have that money now, naira be $1 to $1.
How can we not account for 210 trillion? And you know, this accumulated from 2017 to 2023.
Since APC came into office, thank God they are the one revealing all these things. Thank God they are the one. Imagine the amount of money that have gone down the drain in Nigeria. I was thinking they will call on the Minister of Petroleum to come and explain. As long as they did not do that, and they are not holding anybody accountable, forget it, that money. All this one, they are blowing hot air. Nobody will be held accountable. Nothing. Forget it.
When you say calling on the Minister of Petroleum,
yes.
If you check the time that we're looking at this point in time, from 2017 to 2023, we have the letter president. So are we going to, you know, how are we going to go
Those
on
people
with this
are very clever. They are very clever. That's why I told you that they are being clever by half. The last time I heard of this issue, they said since 10 years ago. That means 2015 to 2023, or 2025. That was 10 years ago. You want me to believe that since 2 years plus now, there is no financial infractions in NNPC? Is that what you want me to believe here? No matter what you answer in a query, in a matter like this, oral and verbal discussions are very important because there are questions members of that committee would want to ask you. All of them cannot write in that query. They can't. But when you come physically, question will be thrown to you from all the members. And from there, we will now know, what we are looking. We will now discover where the money went to or what we are looking for. Those queries cannot just be answered by a written paper. They need to come and explain. And I was thinking the National Assembly will extend their invitation to the Minister of Petroleum, either past or present. They should come and explain that money is not 2 naira or 3 naira. It's not, in the history of this country, we have never lost such an amount of money. We have never. And yet that money is somewhere in somebody's account, and we are looking for money. They are taxing the hell out of us. Imagine if that money is brought out now. You just imagine what will happen to the economy of this country. Just imagine. This is why other countries are moving forward and we are not. With that kind of money, in fact, this nonsense about subsidy will be gone. Nobody will talk of removing subsidy because you do that money to cushion whatever effect. And like I've always told you, nobody is paying any subsidy. Nobody is removing any subsidy. That money is being paid through the back door. That's the truth. Unfortunately, no accountability. We don't even know how much you are paying. Up to today, nobody can say, this is exactly the amount of fuel we consume in a day.